Hey, what's up, witches? It's me, Luna, with an unboxing for you, and this is an unusual one. I mean, you've seen me with Swamp Witch hair before. You've seen me without makeup before, but I don't think you've ever seen this before. A new level of letting it all hang out. And the reason for that is mainly because I'm cleaning my closet out today, but what interrupted the cleaning of the closet was a deck showing up on my porch that I was not expecting. I have a gift today. This is the Tarot of Tales. Ooh, I'm happy and excited. Everybody says that, but it's true. Looking forward to seeing what you think of this deck. If doing a reading general is fine, thank you so much for doing your channel. I'm a newer subscriber, but very much enjoying your content and perspective, from Elizabeth Connors. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Hold on, water. I also have taken pity on you and shut the air conditioner off because the hum is just horrendous, and opened the window. So if I start sneezing my ass off, you'll know why. Anyway, the Tarot of Tales. The deck and little guidebook, it says. And this is a true unboxing because I pulled it out the box and right away off we go. And thank you, Amazon, for sending this in an actual box and not a padded mailer. This is my opportunity to tell you that if you would like to send me a deck, you can pick one off of my wish list down below. And if you do, my test drive reading will be for you. And Elizabeth could have sent me a question, but she said a general reading is okay for her. But if you want a specific reading and you have a specific question, please, oh please, send me a deck and ask me your question. So, illustrations by Rohan Daniel Eason. What a great name, bud. Melinda Lee Holm, a folktale-inspired boxed set including 78 specially commissioned tarot cards and a 176-page illustrated book. We have a sheath on it here. This is Seiko Books. I have 3 that I can think of Seiko Books. I have The Fallen Angel, I think it's Crystal Power, and something Nordic, Magical Nordic Tarot. And I'm happy to see that they're doing a different packaging, but the sheath thing, I'm concerned. All right. Folk tales have brought us invaluable lessons on life for thousands of years. With Tarot of Tales, veteran tarot reader and author Melinda Lee Holm and illustrator Rohan Daniel Eason invite you into their magical world of art and prose, where your readings become personalized fairy tales told by the cards. Large keepsake box, 78 beautiful folktale-inspired tarot cards in a 2-piece box, hand-illustrated 176-page guidebook about the author. Melinda Lee Holm is the author of Elemental Power Tarot, and Your Magical Year, both published by Seiko Books. So I'm imagining that's going to be, those boxes have like a slim box and the lid sort of pulls off sideways. It's a little weird. Co-author of Divine Your Dinner and creator of Melinda Lee Holm Beauty. She has been featured in Vogue, InStyle, WWD, Condé Nast Traveler, and The Hollywood Reporter. She lives in LA. And this is a $39 deck. So thank you so much, Elizabeth, for picking one of the biggies off of my wish list. I almost bought this with my patron money this month. Okay, so how do I have to tear this to get it out? Hold up. I don't want to tear it. Okay, watch Luna struggle. There it goes. Okay. Why? Why do we do this? Why? I really don't want to tear it, but I will. Okay, it's the same thing on the front as on there, so I guess we're tearing this part because I'm not fighting with it anymore. Why? Why? All right, but we don't have... Okay, Melinda Holm, Tarot of Tales. Now, see, I would have liked to have kept that slidey thing just to have the package together, but I like this kind of no text as well. I mean, that's pretty cool. And then on the back we have nothing, so it's a very simple box to sit on your shelf. Magnet closure. Yeah, snappy, snappy. A hardback book. Hell yeah. Tarot is a language. Let it tell your story. Check it out, you guys. And then, see, this is what bugs me. A box within a box. Within a box. A ribbon pull and then another box. Publishers, if you're going to do this, and it's going to be a box that's worth keeping, don't put the deck in another box. I guess they figure you'll carry this along with you somewhere, but will you? Will you really? You know? So, over packaging bothers me. We have this nice little 2-part box here. It opens very easily. And another ribbon pull. I think it's the Mystical Shaman, Oracle, and the Wild Unknown that have the ridiculous packaging as well. All right. Trying to find some room to put stuff here. Oh my God, I have such a mess all around me. So let's take a look at the book a bit here. What a treat to have a hardback book, and we have semi-glossy pages with these beautiful images. This is copyright 2023, and I did look on Amazon, and this just came out in March. So it's a new release. Yay! Thank you. All right, there's an introduction, the language of tarot, your story, writing the ending, the basics. Okay. The basics, preparing for readings, asking questions, reading between the lines. It's weird because they have introduction 6 and then the language of tarot 6. So spreads, narrowing focus, finding the path, navigating influences. Then we have the majors and the minors, which are cups, swords, coins, and wands. So we tell ourselves stories to make sense of our lives, whether individually in a journal, in pairs or small groups with trusted friends, or collectively in folk tales and myths. Telling our stories reframes our experiences, allowing us to learn and grow from them and to see the present as a moment continually suspended between the past and the future. Sometimes the story we are living in can seem unclear or overly complicated. Tarot helps us to focus and clarify what is going on in our lives, to hear and tell the story we need in order to move forward. And it uses its own special language to do so. So then we have the language of tarot. Tarot is a language. Each of the cards can function as verbs, adjectives, nouns, as single words or whole paragraphs, expanding and contracting as needed. We ascribe meaning to different positions and spreads and lay out the cards to form narratives, arguments, comparisons, and inquiries. We see the guidance of the individual cards shift and grow when combined with other cards. The layers of text, imagery, and symbology embedded in tarot decks combine to bring us their unique expression of this language. Okay, there are only 78 cards that together can express all of human experience. In order to do that, they must be able to hold many layers of meaning. And what they really hold is the essence of meaning to us. You know, different meanings things can have because the details of things are infinite, as we know. So, then there's your story. You are the main character of your story. There are many other characters, supporting roles, background characters, even villains. Writing the ending, this is what I'm curious about. So how does your story end? That is entirely up to you. The beauty of viewing your readings as chapters or paragraphs in a story is that you then get to imagine what you want to happen next, and with the guidance of your reading, begin to take steps to get there. We all come from somewhere, we're all going somewhere, and we all have our own set of tools and circumstances to work with and within as you work with these cards and see all different parts of your story unfolding. Step outside yourself, observe yourself as you would the protagonist of your favorite book or movie. Be proud of the ways you see yourself grow and maintain a hopeful curiosity about how you will choose to end this story and begin another. Then we have the basics, preparing for readings, asking questions, reading between the lines. Then we have spreads. Narrowing focus is a 1 card. Finding the path, past, present, horizon. Navigating influences is a 5 card in the past, present, from above, deep within, on the horizon. And we don't have a Celtic cross. Interesting. majors. And then we're in. We get a full page image. Oh, look at the palm. Oh my God. So we get a full page image. We get in bold keywords. Then we get in the past, at present, on the horizon, from above, deep within. So if we do this 5-card navigating influences spread, there will be a reading, a specific reading from each card for each of those categories. Let's look and see if the minors, and the minors do the same, exactly the same. Wow. And I'm seeing here that when we get into the minors, we have cups, and the realm is the sea. Then we have swords, and their realm is the sky. I want to check here too. So page, knight, queen, and king. So those are normal. Then the coins are, the realm is the forest and mountains, and Wands' realm is the desert and volcanoes. So that's very cool. And at the end, it's just the end, acknowledgments. All right. Let's get the deck out of the box here. So we have a ribbon to pull it out of the box, and then we have a paper band to take off. Editing is a wonderful thing when you have to pee in the middle of an unboxing and you've forgotten your lighter. Aren't you happy to know that? Look how beautiful the back is. They're pastel-y. There's a very organic look. Look at the vines. The lines have kind of a loose, spontaneous quality to them. It's not like, come on, there we go. See, they're not perfection. I love it. All right, this is going to be a challenge to shuffle. I can tell. Cardstock is, heavy enough. This feels like the kind of deck that's going to stay bent when you bend it. They feel like cardboard, thick cardboard. Bummer. I'm sad that there's a black border here and a light border there, because immediately I see the black and I'm like, I'm going to edge these in black, and then when they're not black on the back, it's not going to look too good. So here we go. The Fool. Look at the palm. And they've got the realms for the others. Let me just take a look right before the majors if we have anything here. The 22 cards of the major arcana represent archetypes found in stories throughout time and throughout the world. While our view of these characters may vary with time and culture, their core essences, the release of death, the undeniable power of the Emperor, and the deep reflection of the moon connect us with universal human experience. Now, the thing that I'm not seeing here, so we've set up talking about tales and our stories, and I was thinking we were going to see some references to some folk tales, but we don't. We're not. Okay, so we don't have any information about why the Fool is a Pomeranian. Very cute, indeed. And he's juggling. So we have a different kind of idea of the Fool here. The Fool as jester rather than as just being an innocent. And he's standing on the world and he's juggling. I like the borders, but we have the black border and then we have another border that is part of the image. So, would it have been nicer to have this image make up the whole card? I think so. Do we need to make the cards bigger than they are is the question. When you have a deck that you can't get your hand all the way around and there's a border and a border, perhaps that could have been done differently. There's the Magician. So the Magician is a rat. Because there's a lot of detail in here. Look at all the little things on the shelves and, you know, kind of pouring something into a beaker, and I'd like to see those larger, you know, even without both. Let me imagine if that was the whole image. All right, the High Priestess. So, it took me a while to be able to see it. I think I have to look on camera because the color is different. So we have a blue-robed figure that is lighting a candle. So we do not have Waite Smith images here at all, from the Fool, right from the beginning. These are new images. I'm assuming that meanings are going to be congruent with the Waite Smith. High Priestess is devotion, ritual, sanctity, boundaries, caring for your temple, travel between worlds, introspection, fruition, reflection, and veneration. Very different. Very different. Okay. Here's the Empress. Here we go. Wait, I'm going to close the window. You either get to hear me cough or I get to be roasting, so I'll take roasting. We have another little rodent, maybe a weasel, not a rodent. Anyway, there's the Empress with her shovel digging in her garden. The Emperor is a hawk, an eagle. He's got all raptors around him and a map. The Hierophant is a cat with all of the critters. The Lovers, how interesting. The Lovers is a bee. A bee. And a flower. I mean, I really do like this. The fact that the flower and the bee are the lovers here. The flower is attracting the bee, and the bee, you know, receives nectar from it, but also pollinates the flower. I really, really like that, because what does that do? But it brings a frame into my mind of the Lover's card as being beyond male-female romantic relationships, or, you know, whatever configuration of romantic relationship. It is about mutual support, sustaining each other, helping each other, fertilizing. Interesting. It's about relationships that catalyze something else, you know? Here's the Chariot, but it's a coach. It's a royal coach. And it's just awaiting. Your chariot awaits. Wow. Here's Strength. Look at him. So we're not doing, you know, natural animals all the time. We're doing, I mean, the bee had a little top hat on. And here he is, sitting and reading. Now, that's interesting. The Strength card usually shows that lion in a person, and the person's inner calm and inner peace is what tames that lion. But this is the lion himself, just kind of hanging out in a hammock. And I'm trying to think about what that image is telling me about strength. And I'm not sure. Unseen power, okay. He looks all chilled out, but he's got hidden power. Confidence, knowledge of one's gifts, personal gravity, a silent announcement, public presence. A silent announcement. Public presence in the art of persuasion. Wait a minute, I gotta get my foot out from under me. Thank you. It was kind of stuck. All right, interesting. The Hermit. With the light on and with the books, going internally, studying, thinking. Here's the Wheel of Fortune with all kinds of fish. Wow. I'm sad that we're not getting mention of any of these things with the images. When you have, oh, looky, there's a little ribbon in the book too. So you can mark your page. That's appreciated. But when you go to the trouble of really reimagining the tarot, I would like to know what's behind your thinking rather than I've totally reimagined these here. And we get the meanings and that's it. Patience, luck, trusting in the perfect timing of the universe, the right thing at the right time for the right reason, expansion, unexpected developments or delays. But we don't have a single mention of why there are fish. Okay. Justice. Is that a bear? Bear and raccoons. But look what they're doing. They're balancing. All right. The Hanged Man. Are bats. The Hanged Man are bats. Yes, it are. Here's Death. I'm going to touch the tulip. Temperance. A unicorn. I mean, we have like land and water, but a unicorn. How interesting. And I'm not going to look it up because they're not going to tell me. I'm sad. The Devil. And you know what? I want to say something here. If you've watched me long enough, you know that I have absolutely undying respect for authors and artists that can put forth the dedication and the time and the effort to produce a deck. So when I'm reviewing a deck, when I'm doing updates, I get picky. I'm very picky and I'm very critical. I have Mercury conjuncting my Pluto in Virgo, so I'm intensely critical. I look deep. But that is not to say that I'm hating the deck. I don't want you to think that at all. I'm critiquing and fussing, but ultimately I take the deck as a whole, and you know the bottom line is how it reads. So, onward. Here's the Devil. Looky how it's just a little mouse in front of a flashlight, but the shadow behind the mouse looks big and scary. That is an image with a lot of information in it. That when we look at something in the light, what may have seemed big and scary by the shadow that it cast, we turn the light on and find out it's just a little mouse. Here's the Tower. So the Tower has already been blasted. And we see the rubble. With a plant, a little shoot of a plant coming back. Here's the Star. Sorry, Lion King. The Moon is a little rabbit on the path. The Sun. Oh, look at a butterfly coming out of the chrysalis, waiting for their wings to dry in the sun. That's a beautiful image. Judgment. I love the images. I love the artwork. I have to say that. It's wonderful. They have an excellent imagination. I mean, that picture of the devil was something else. Here's Judgment climbing up out of a hole. So going back, sorry, we've got a cozy little hole with a chair and a lamp, but we're like scrambling away. Are we moving away? Are we leaving? I'm not sure what that means. And then we have the world, and it looks like there's just this big cave with a path going in with the light. Wow. I mean, fascinating. Just fascinating. I would never think of the world bringing light into the deep, dark underground spaces. Okay, here's Cups. The Sea. So we have all the corals. Again, gorgeous artwork. Look at the Two of Cups. And there's a realism. It's fantasy and realism at the same time. They look like they could be real fish, but look at their expressions. With a jellyfish. And then here's the Three of Cups. So we've got an eel and some others having a tea party on a turtle's back. celebrate. And Four of Cups. Oh, look. Oh, look at him. Again, I want to go to the book and say, because I know what this little critter's called and I forget and I want to see what it is and they're not going to tell me. The Four of Cups. So, having, and they didn't make a mention in this book that this comes from the Waite Smith. And I'm kind of looking quickly to see. I don't see any mention of the Waite Smith deck. So we're not, reproducing it. But when we have images that are so very different and are unfamiliar, you kind of go internally to the things that you have on board already. And I'm kind of struggling to see how this would be Four of Cups. Emotional stability, self-soothing, caring for what truly matters, acceptance, emotional boundaries, prioritizing loved ones. This is going to be a deck where you just have to learn. You just have to learn the meanings, that's all. This one stands on its own. Here's Five of Cups. Now we can certainly see loss there. The Six is a beluga. Memories, we can see that for sure. The Seven. All right, he's looking at himself in the pond, but we don't really see, there's a heart, but we don't really see like the choices. Here's the Eight, penguins, and they're watching a whale breach. The Nine. So this is the wish card. And we've got this octopus just kind of on a rug, I guess. Ten of Cups. I'm very anxious to get into a reading with this. Here's the page. He's made of fish. The Knight. It's so funny because the page is usually looking at his cup with a fish coming out of it, right? Well, he is the fish and he's looking into the cup. He's got a little bellboy's hat on too. There's the Knight of Cups on a seahorse. There's the Queen and the King. So again, wonderful images, just beautiful artwork. Here are the swords. The Air. There's the Two. So there's the Two showing a decision. There are two doors. So which one will you choose? I do like the idea of a decision with the Two of Swords, but the blindfold has always been a very essential part of that card. Three of Swords. So certainly this is going to be adding new meanings to my repertoire. Here, there's the Three of Swords. I guess they look like they're bitching at each other, eh? The Four. He's all folded up on himself. God, what a gorgeous image. It looks like a, what do they call it, a shoe bill, I think? I think it's got this, like a frickin' dinosaur. Five of Swords. Wow. Power. Power to sweep things up. The Six. Yippee! We made it. It's graduation. I like that. Here's the Seven. Just leaving. All right, flying away. Here's the Eight. And we have an actual 8 there. Okay, it's like the bird is dropping a lasso down, and here's all the continents of the earth. I don't understand. There's the 9. Look how cute he is. And the 10. So we do not have this idea of strife, and I am going to look it up because I want to see the meanings that they give us. Advanced understanding, knowing what you don't know, true acceptance of the reality of others, evolution of thought, intellectual wisdom, integration of knowledge. So we are way outside of Waite Smith. And the 10 completion, drawing conclusions, the logical end of conversation, blah, blah, blah. All right, so we are definitely sticking with the air, communication, intellect, knowledge, but we do not have the idea of grief and devastation here in the 9 and 10. And I will also say there are no reversed meanings. So, does the 78, do the 78 cards of this tarot really describe every human possibility without those? Here's the page. Again, it's a bird made of birds. There's the knight, a bird riding on a bill. Hornbill? Is that what it's called? There's the queen, a bird with hens, and the king. Now, coins. Beetles. Not those beetles. 2. A bear watering a plant. Okay. Here's the 3. Look at the 3 raccoons stacked up on top of each other to take apples, and the cloak makes us think like they're stealing those apples. Then we have the 4. But you do get the idea of collaborative effort there. Here's the 4 of coins. So squirrel's got them nuts wrapped up tight and is going to stick them away into storage. Here's the 5 of coins. Okay, this valley, but snow. I mean, it's a narrow place. Is it a chasm? I don't know. The 6. Usually about loans and debts and payment and charity, and I'm not seeing any of that. And everybody's calling me today when I'm in a reading. 7 of coins. Review. Okay. The 8. Those look like redwoods. Yeah, look at the little deer here in amongst the giant trees. So the 7 again. Kind of nesty, tunnely. There's the 9. Working hard. And here's the 10. Certainly things coming to fruition. Look at it. There are plates. There are little animal snouts and paws, and everybody's having a big old feast. And there's the page. A bug made of bugs. An ant made of ants. There's the knight riding an armadillo. The queen. The king. A badger. And then we've got the Ace of Wands. And here's the desert and volcanoes. Look at the dragons. The 2. The 3 is a fennec fox. 3 of Wands, 2 of Wands. I mean, he's standing on a path. There's a path to be chosen here. The 3 is just talking about digga, digga, digga. Here's the 4. There are bugs riding on a lizard across the fire. The 5. Oh, the 5 of Wands is a forest fire. Wow. Here's the 6. How interesting. Oh my goodness. What a hell. I guess this is the David done in alligator or dragon. And there's a lizard checking the twig and berries, maybe. Here's the 7 of Wands. Okay, 7 of Wands. Standing your ground, but he's jumping through a hoop, a flaming hoop. And then we have the 8. Lizards sitting around playing guitars and tabla and oboe. And here's the 9 of Wands. Wow, paints. There's paints everywhere. They're making a big collaborative painting between snakes and lizards and scorpions. And there's the 10. A pyramid of dragons, all spouting fire. There's the page. Okay, we've taken a departure here. We don't have a lizard made of lizards. We just have a lizard. And there's the knight and the queen and the king. Okay. You know, I'm kind of doing some soul searching here because it's like, am I getting pickier? the more decks I have, that can certainly be a possibility. But got my charcoal lit. Let's give it a little bit of a blessing. Ooh, I should have put more sage in there. Do I have any more? Did I see some? Anyhow, very, very much a reimagining and a deck that you will need to learn from scratch. So, could this be a beginner's deck? Probably. As long as you're not trying to internalize the whole Waite-Smith system or any other system. By air and fire, may you be purified and charged. And I have my little blue dish that I've had for probably 40 years. I broke. So I have a bottle here of ocean water, and I'm taking my ocean water from that, by water and earth. May you be blessed and made whole. And with the sound of the bell, may the spirit awaken within you, the spirit intended by the author and the artist, Rohan Daniel Eason and Melinda Lee Holm. Thank you for this wonderful gift from both the author and artist, and also from Elizabeth. Okay, guides and guardians, allies and ancestors, thank you for being here. I welcome you always, always, always. I offer you fresh water and the fire of Azrael to help me open my mind and shut my criticisms down so that I can give this a fair reading. Now, not looking forward to this, but here's a first shuffle. Oh, that was a surprise. That was a surprise. That wasn't at all how I thought it was going to be. Okay, let's give it a few more. Now, this is a general reading for Elizabeth, so let's just see. I mean, they slide against each other fairly well. They're a little bit matte, so they do stick a bit, but I'm just thrilled that I can actually riffle shuffle these cards and bridge them. It's still a chunky deck, but because I don't think I'm going to be able to cut shuffle. So what I'm going to do is cut shuffle. I mean, I guess I can. But they come off in chunks. See, when you cut, you don't really get a couple cards at a time. You get big chunks of cards because they cling. But once you cut shuffle and then do another riffle, you get a really good mix. All right. So I am going to continue to cut. And I think I'm going to go with this 5-card reading in the beginning here. This navigating influences. In the past, at present, from above, deep within, on the horizon. Throughout our lives, influences impact how we perceive and navigate situations. Some internal and some external. This spread lends insight into what may be pulling or pushing on you. Pay attention to how the passages in these cards make you feel and whether they seem logical or unexpected in the context of your question and story. Navigating influences. So does each of these categories just tell us, goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, very strange, tell us about our influences in the past, our influences at present, our influences from above? No, I'm not going to do that. In the past, at present, on the horizon. Let's do a 3-card, and I may expand it, but just to see, because I can't really go intuitively with this deck. Or can I? I don't know. All right, for Elizabeth. Elizabeth Connors. Elizabeth Connors. Please give me information, past, present, future, for Elizabeth Connors. I feel like I need to... No, we're taking them off the top. That's what they're telling me. We have the Knight of Cups. We have the Hermit. Oops. You see how they're sticking? And the King of Wands. Okay, bummer. 2 courts. That makes me kind of sad. All right, let's read. In the past. And they're screaming at me to reshuffle. But let's see what we have. The Knight of Cups. Passion, intensity, pride. Loving freely. Gallant expression of emotion. Releasing shame. Devotion to a cause. Leading with the heart. In the past, everything you loved passionately. You feared it was too much for others to handle, but your need to share your feelings was too intense to contain, and you proudly stepped into the world with your heart on your sleeve. The Hermit. So yeah, you know, reading that specific meaning for... Wait. There's the Hermit. Okay. Seclusion, purpose, inquiry, study, synthesizing information, forming a thesis, lighting the way, transformation, emergence, being your own best companion, and tranquility. In the present, you inhale deeply, and the scent of incense and old books fills your lungs. There is no sound but the crackling of the fire, keeping you warm as you dive deeper into your studies, forming your unique conception of your world. So what I'm also not seeing, you know, they're talking about how things can be verbs or adjectives, and all right. Cards don't always have the same feel in every reading or situation. When working with the tarot, there are a few common ways to determine whether a particular card may present a bit more of a challenge or invite an alternative way of looking at it. Reversals. Proximity to other cards and intuition. When a card's upside down, we call it reversed. Some readers read them and some cards don't. The energy will be delayed. And then intuition. There's another way to see nuance in the cards. The narrative. All the stories you've read, heard, watched, and been told throughout your life inform your reading of every news story you encounter, including the ones you read with this deck. Okay. All right. Let's go to the King of Wands, and then I will take a hit on both of those courts. The King of Wands. All right. Speaking through creative expression, planning out actions, decoding symbolic language, sensing the right thing to say, and the study of high magic. How interesting. All right, so this third one in the spreads here is on the horizon. A volcano erupts, shooting lava and ash high into the sky. You are startled by the sudden destruction, then fascinated by the new landscape being created before your very eyes. Your vision of a new world clarifies as you watch the lava flow and solidify. Planning out actions, decoding symbolic language. It's just very interesting. So what do we take from this? All right, let's pull this together. Passion, intensity, pride. So we have in the past talking about maybe an offer or an opportunity, or I mean, this says releasing shame, devotion to a cause, certainly talking about you being a very passionate person. And it talked there about stepping into the world with your heart on your sleeve. So an incredibly sensitive person. So the past having a bearing on now is your sensitivity and your willingness to let that sensitivity show and let it kind of hang out for everybody to see. In the present, however, we've got you pulling back. Time to pull back and go more internally, to sort of look into the dark corners of what's going on right now. To pull, you know, okay, so they influence each other. We are talking about emotions here. This is talking about maybe pulling them back a little bit. Maybe you've come to this place of pulling back because you've been hurt, because wearing your heart on your sleeve isn't the best thing for sensitive people to do, you know, in a hostile world. Well, I don't consider it a hostile world, but there are a lot of hostile people in the world. So the hermit here, and it, talks about emergence, being your own best company, tranquility. So rather than being out here with your heart on your sleeve, ready to rescue everyone, I'm definitely getting vibes from this night of you being very willing to rescue people emotionally. The one that goes riding to the ta-da, here I am, you're feeling bad, what can I do? But we're talking here now about pulling in and doing a deeper dive into your own psyche and your own emotions and your own impulses to go and help and make things right. So here's where I'm getting a strong message of perhaps riding to the rescue of others has been a very good way not to have to deal with the things that are uncomfortable for you. But now is the time to go more deeply into those processes. And a guide post here is looking at how you've been hurt, the patterns of hurt, the patterns of I've made myself emotionally vulnerable and I got hit. Okay? And then looking at why you keep putting yourself out. So we look more deeply into that and say, where have I put myself out in unsafe situations? And looking now at changing that pattern. I don't always have to go to the rescue. People can be responsible for their own emotions. It's not my job to fix, And particularly when it comes to giving advice, when somebody, you see somebody hurting and you go to them to support them, wait until you hear the question, what should I do? Or please, what do you think? Wait for the questions. If somebody's bitching and unloading emotions, in your presence, don't naturally assume that it's your job to fix it, is what I want to say there. And then the King of Wands talks about this creative expression, but, like volcanic creative expression. Sensing the right thing to say, if we follow that story here, looking at how to support people, how to give them. And then we have the Queen of Wands. Okay, and I'm going to put the Hanged Man here, and then we're going to see Eight of Cups. Yay, we finally got a minor arcana. That was what I wanted to do. So the Queen of Wands, let's look at her while we're here. Empathy, expressing emotion through art, conjuring relationships, psychic soothing, allowing the heart to guide action, and love magic. How interesting. I would never look at the wands and think about emotions. But they are talking about art and creativity and expressing feelings through that medium. In the past, you absorbed the emotions of everyone around you. Wow, would I never ever think of that for the Queen of Wands. Queen of Cups, yes. But how interesting that it's going right along with this night. Okay. You absorbed the emotions of everyone around you. You cherished your ability to empathize with others, but it became difficult to sort your own feelings from everyone else's. A little alone time let you cultivate the energetic boundaries you needed. Here's the alone time. So is it reading? Oh, hell yeah. And then we have the Hanged Man here. Shift in perspective, the path less traveled, embracing the unfamiliar, inspiration, elevation of the uncommon, taking time to see things differently. You tripped over a stone on a walk through the forest and fell to the ground. From your new vantage point on the ground looking up, you saw a whole new forest, patterns in the branches, a cornucopia of mosses and mushrooms. Okay, so what happened with you being super, super sensitive in the past and maybe taking on other people's emotions and being the one that was the bearer of the emotions of everybody, the emotional carrier. Hanged Man here says then something shifted and you might have gone, hey, what the fuck? I'm not doing this anymore. This hurts. Then we have the Hermit in the present. Now let's look at Eight of Cups here. So we were talking about creativity. I'm still kind of struggling with that King. Speaking through creative expression. Study of high magic, planning out actions. So maybe what you need to say to others, you can express your newfound boundaries in a different way. I'm still kind of struggling with him. Sorry, you guys. What do you think? What do you think? Eight of Cups. Matured emotional boundaries. Ooh, I really like that. And look at the iceberg. That's a very good image there. Understanding true nurturing. Loving steadily. Compassion. Accepting one's own needs. There we are. On the horizon, the glacier comes into view. You pull your hat down and collar up against the biting cold wind, but you do not go inside. Here on the deck in the wind, you can allow yourself to become enveloped in the expanse of white and blue and gray. Okay, I don't really understand that, but I like this understanding true nurturing, emotional boundaries. This makes so much sense. The intense sensitivity in the past that had you hung up yourself, and then a shift of perspective of why do I do this when they don't do this for me, looking deeper now into this process, and then in the future having your boundaries more solidified. And the King of Wands here is saying that you don't have to, it was talking about speaking in kind of different ways, different language. You don't have to actually tell people, I'm not doing this for you anymore. I'm not blah, blah, blah. If they're kind of, toxic people and aren't going to get it and honor you that way. But you can find other ways to set that boundary. Things that will speak louder. Not inviting someone that you really don't want to come to a certain thing, or just not going when you've been invited somewhere, saying no. And oh, well, no, I have something else to do that day. I can't remember. I was talking to somebody recently, and it was about, setting boundaries with someone toxic. And I said, you don't have to give them a reason, and you don't have to be honest. If you know that you're just going to get grief from somebody, if you try to be real with them, then, maybe you can say, oh, I have an appointment that day, rather than, no, I don't want to go with you because you're a pain in the ass. I mean, you are free to be honest, but if it's going to bring you more grief, you don't have to. You can say whatever you need to say to get yourself off the hook or out of a conversation with a toxic person. Anything goes. They're telling me to take one more. And look, we have another knight, the Knight of Swords. Let's see what he says. So two knights, a king and a queen. The courts came out swinging today. Let's see what he says. Speaking passionately, advocacy, direct communication, potential for harsh words, conviction, quick reactions, rapid processing of information. So there it talks about, yes, maybe being direct. There is someone or someones that you do have to be a little more direct with if you really want it to be a boundary. They need to understand where you're coming from. They're not going to understand, but they need to hear where you're coming from. Potential for harsh words. Conviction. Advocacy. This is about self-advocacy, advocating for yourself. And that might just mean saying no to something. Or, no, that's my day to blah, blah, blah for myself. That's the time I take for myself, And when you do those things, interestingly, if you're not sure if somebody's toxic or not, try to set a boundary. Say, I have to do something. No, I'm doing this for myself, and set a boundary and watch what happens. If they refuse to recognize that boundary, or there's a big kick up, or there's harsh words, then you got a toxic person that is not interested in your well-being. They're only interested in themselves. Okay. Wow. I do really like the deck. It's very new, and there are some things that are confusing, but it sure gave a reading that was coherent. I hope it resonated for you. I hope this made sense for you. Elizabeth. And, it is sometimes the best way to just throw something open rather than a specific question, because then the deck just has a chance to talk. I adore the artwork. It shuffles better than I thought it would. But the brand new system. So this goes in there with like the Dreams of Gaia tarot, where it's a whole new system and you just have to learn it on its own terms. This is one of those decks, but it is a beautiful deck. And is it worth getting? I'm glad to have it. I'm very glad to have it, and I'm very grateful for the gift, Elizabeth. Okay, you guys, let me know what you think down below. Do you have it? Do you use it? All that kind of stuff. Hit the like if you would do me the favor, and subscribe if you're interested in more content. There are over 700 videos on this channel already, so have at it. There's a lot to watch before the next one comes out. And I will see you the next time on an unboxing or a live stream. And until then, gratitude again, Elizabeth, and to all of my viewers, blessed be.